you can keep your stops pretty wide on the rest, and that way you can have your cake and eat it too. So again, to me, JD looks like very interesting stock. The double bottom, inverted head and shoulders. And now you're coming right into this resistance level around 85. So that's going to be kind of a noisy area right here. And then if we get above here, this is kind of the guy that I'm watching right here, that reversal right up there at about 87. So again, this has kind of gone up quite a bit, from 69 to 83 without much of a, and we're going to gap open again today. So I've got a lot of shares. I've got these calls. I may just blow the calls out on the opening, take some money off the table there. But it certainly looks pretty fertile on the daily and the weekly. This is, again, getting in this area. Right there, 84.5. And we're going to open up pretty close to that right now. So you may just have some turbulence, but this thing still looks really good to the upside. And he says, should we tighten our stops on JD? So I would kind of give till, I think, have to give till, Friday's low in a way. You could open, go through unchanged. I mean, if you want to keep a tight stop under yesterday's low, might be a little tight. I'm kind of wondering what to do with my positions too. For some reason, I just feel very kind of, so really that's the stop under 79.38. There could be a lot of headwinds and turbulence in this area back and forth. JD, has been, I've noticed every day, it sells off, it looks terrible, and then it finds a way to put itself together. So if you want to hang on to this thing, you kind of have to give it some room. I would give it to 79.30, which is about $4 high, lower, or, under yesterday's low, if you really want to, which is about 81, somewhere in there. But this looks like, above this area, this could really get some. This 87 would be the first. So look, I mean, it's kind of gone up pretty well. Now you're going to gap. If you want to take 25% off into this gap, which, I may just do that, take some off. That's always a way to play it too. And then, you can keep your stops pretty wide on the rest, and that way you can have your cake and eat it too. So like I said, I don't know. The market's in this area where there's a lot of resistance, in the Dow, and there's just a lot of things. And so I'm in the mindset where I kind of want to just hold my powder and, wait for something that, sorts itself out. Although, this MMM looks interesting. There is kind of this obstruction right here. I wasn't kind of clear how it would take out. So you can see that I just saw this nice bottom, and then it closed really well yesterday. So I surmise that we would get some thrust, but you can see right in here, there is some price history that this is kind of got to go through. So I don't know if it bumps there and then kind of comes back down. So I might just take my chips, on the first thrust. That's really what I'm looking for in these calls. If I buy them on the close, if I get some, I forgot what I paid for them. I paid, what did I pay? 95 cents. So I don't know if I could get $1.50 and make 50%, on a thrust. I'm just kind of doing it. I don't, this does look pretty good though. This looks like it is setting up. The difficulty is when you come down so fast, you don't usually go up, quickly. It usually takes some digestion, some sideways building. So I'd be inclined, if I get a nice little thrust here, make 50, 100% of my money, overnight, I might just take that. So now I'm just going to bounce out of these JD calls. JD, I've got 250. Okay, I got out of those. MMM doesn't really look like it's gotten that much of a bounce. I don't even know if there's a quote there. Yeah, I'm making a few grand here. I'm just going to bounce out of those too. All right, so I got out of those triple M calls.
How much did you make?
Like 5 grand. JD. I'm going to sell 2,000 shares here and then 2,000 the other. That's kind of what I was telling somebody else, just take some off the table. So I just sold some at 84.35. I made about $4 on that, sold 2,000 there. I'm going to sell 2,000 in the other account too. Okay, sold those. Disney, starting to percolate a little bit. Maybe those 172.5 calls will see some life after all. Just find it hard to see all of those weekly lows getting banged out of there. All of these reversals. I can't believe it's just going to slice through there. So, and there's this guy right over here standing in the way of, even more downside progress. So going to be very interesting to see what we do here. But my bet is already made. I've got these calls. If this thing gets a bounce, I'll bounce out of them. Let's see, Moderna. Moderna's in this area. It's going to be pretty interesting. So usually when you see little islands like that, I don't know, that usually is kind of the high. So the fact that we gapped up, I'll be looking at that 334. So what I try and do is look at how something rotates around the previous days unchanged and what might constitute a reversal. So if it goes higher and then goes through unchanged, then we could be looking at a, key reversal back, in here. So, I don't know. It's a very tricky area for Moderna. It's in the middle of anything. It can do anything here. So JD's starting to come off. So that 84.75, there was that was kind of where a lot of resistance is. And, maybe on a healthy sell-off. So you can see it got above these recent resistance levels. But this thing's gapped higher pretty good for several days now. So I took, nice chunk of change out of that trade. I got in the high 79s and got out in 84. So it made about $5 on 16,000 shares.
So you can see, yeah, 45 is 1.3 million.
$1.3 million short.
So popped out a profit for 118,000 there.
So you can see how this is going crazy now. You can see how the market's just going nuts.
I bet like $1.6 million on this position. I'm showing right now $23,000 gain.